Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. This video is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All right, let's get into it. So you've just jerked off and you think you're going to hell for it. This was me when I was 13 years old. Me, like pretty much every other teenager, early teen, started to masturbate, okay? You know, it just happens. It's a natural part of life. But for me, I'm pretty sure it was a little bit different than most kids. I felt extremely guilty about it. I felt like I was a horrible person and that I was going to hell. And it was actually so extreme that I would start crying because I felt like I just did this horrible act and I did something wrong. I couldn't describe what it was. Logically, I knew it made sense to not worry about this, but I couldn't get it out of my head. And little did I know that that was the first kind of obvious sign that I had OCD. I could not stop obsessing about this. I didn't know that it was my mind obsessing about it. I didn't have words really to describe it, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get this thought out of my brain that I am going to hell just because I did this thing that I really don't even think is bad, but my mind was telling me otherwise. It's hard to explain unless you've experienced it yourself, but yes, this was me obsessing about it. I guess I didn't really believe that it was that out of the ordinary because it was kind of normal for me to have an obsession because I had other obsessions in my lifetime, but this one was one of the first ones, again, that was really kind of hard to deal with. So I guess why am I making this video? I guess I can give you a little bit of background about me first. So from birth here to when I was about 13, I was happy. Okay, you know, I was just like every other kid, just happy, running around, living life. Okay, and then at 13, this is where the first obvious OCD signs happen. Okay, these are the thoughts that are hard to deal with, like people are gonna abandon you, you're going to hell for jerking off, all of that stuff. So what happened because of this? I developed mild depression, and yeah, that was until 13, 18. I honestly forgot it was even there because it's just really not that bad. It kind of happened when I was 13, and then I forgot and kind of went about my days, you know. But when I turned around 18, around senior year of high school, I developed crippling depression because the OCD got a lot worse. Yeah, it started ruining my life, and I had no idea. Again, this whole time I was completely oblivious to the fact that I had OCD and that it was ruining my life, and this is why I'm depressed all the time. But at 24, I finally figured out, I finally got a diagnosis. I finally I have OCD. Okay, so literally like 6 years of crippling depression here before I figured out that I have this thing that pretty much everyone has heard of. Because if you like walk down the street and you just like ask someone, hey, have you heard of OCD? They're probably going to say yes, but they can't really give you a clear description as to what the symptoms are if they haven't had it before. So why am I making this again? Because, okay, OCD, it's treatable. Okay, that's the good thing. You have to realize it's a very aggressive disorder. It can be, but it's treatable. So basically, if I saw a video like this when I was younger, this probably would have happened. It would have been closer to this at least, you know, birth to 24, happy, okay? Because first obvious OCD signs at 13 plus a diagnosis equals happy, okay? Or at least extremely close to this, okay? You never know, life happens. Okay, so if you are experiencing this, then you need to see a specialist because this kind of stuff, for me, it didn't get better until I knew how to treat it, until I actually saw someone that knew what they were talking about. I'm going to show you how exactly I found one. This is what I did. I found someone that specialized in OCD and exposure response prevention, or ERP for short. That's a very common form of OCD therapy. There's also medication for it. All right, so one more thing. Just because you experience guilt and that you're a horrible person going to hell for jerking off or masturbating or whatever you want to call it, does that mean you have OCD? And the answer is no. So if it's one of these things where you can kind of just get over it and it doesn't really have that much an effect on your day, you can still kind of go about your day and it just goes away, and you don't really have an anxiety spike about it, then probably you don't. I will say if you have any inkling you think you have it, you should get checked out. But this is what would happen to me. So let's go back to this drawing. Okay, every time I would get reminded that I had masturbated or something, I would be like, shoot, not this again, and I couldn't get the thought out of my head. It just wouldn't go away. It would ruin my day. I got mildly depressed from it. I couldn't really focus on anything I was doing 100% anymore. That's just to give you a clear idea and what was going on. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to find a therapist that is good for OCD. So first off, we're going to Google, okay? And what am I gonna type in? I'm gonna type in psychology today. This is a website where you can link up with therapists. And here, if you go over here, all filters, there is a bunch of stuff like ADHD, anxiety, couples counseling, all that stuff. So you can choose if your therapist is a male or a female. But yeah, they have all these filters here, and see there's an OCD one right here. So I'd click on that, and then this is just what I did. Let's see here. Right there, exposure response prevention, ERP, and then show 500 plus therapists. And then you can get hooked up with a therapist here. So this is what I did. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please make sure to like and subscribe so that we can raise awareness for OCD so that people that need help get the help.